Kojo, I have a
Yeah.
solution. Are you willing to hear me out regarding the handballing rule?
Go
Let's
for it.
make it very freaking simple. Anything that touches the hand within that 6-yard box is a stone cold penalty. That's the only way you can solve it. I want to bring something as well to your attention, because I think that I'm going to talk about the FA Ref Association, right? Do you call it a conspiracy that they have something against us? Or is it actually factual, right? Because I want to bring this to the stage, peeps, right? This, I wrote a tweet because this is kind of what I'm feeling at the moment. Is the Ref Association with the new rules that you cannot talk to the referee at all, talk to the hand. They sort of distance themselves like authoritarians, like, you know, like it's becoming this authoritarian regime. Don't talk to us or you get a yellow card. Don't complain. Do not ask questions or decisions or we punish you. If you do complain, we give you a punishment extra 1 day ban or 2 games ban, right? The hate against United is a fact, right? Am I actually waffling here, or am I actually seeing something? Because if you see the VAR decision regarding Spurs when we played, Garnacho was actually shooting right against the goal, open wide goal, and you had Romero clear and obvious with his hand out there, right? And it wasn't given. And then you see Arsenal Spurs yesterday, same incident, and was given, right? And then you hear this yesterday, to be honest, right? If we can play this, right, without even getting copyright, which was Dermot Gallagher, the attempts to explain the difference between the Christian Romero incident and the Bruno Fernandes and Garnacho situation. Have you seen this one, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it this morning.
Can we hear this?
No.
You can't hear this?
No.
I can't.
No. Okay, well, it's not playing the sound, but if you haven't seen it, go check it out on this tweet, Football Daily, you know. Was basically asked the question, like, what is the difference? And somebody asked the question, well, what is the difference between the Manchester United? It's the same incident. And he went like, Liz Truss straight away on a defense, like a gunner. He couldn't even answer, you know. It's absolutely a disgrace, to be honest.
Yeah.
I want your thoughts and opinions, because there was another incident yesterday, guys. I think it was Newcastle game, right? I think it was Longstaff that was driving the ball. It was clearly out on the byline, and it was even hitting his hand, and it was a goal. Same thing happened to Marcus Rashford, where he passed it in to Højlund, who actually got robbed on his debut goal. What else can we talk about? I think it goes all the way back to the City Derby, when they got so much pelters because of the VAR decision that was allowed, because it was actually there. We saw the Garnacho also situation where it was, against Spurs as well. The offside situation. There's been 3 or 4 dodgy referee decisions against us, and the latest, which didn't really affect us because we went ahead and won the game 1-0. But that was not an offside. He wasn't blocking the Højlund was not blocking the sight of the goalkeeper. What's your thoughts and feelings? Like, am I conspiracy delusional, or am I seeing something that is in an agenda?
It's a tricky one. I interviewed a couple of weeks ago Keith Hackett, and I had quite an in-depth interview with him with regards to decisions that have gone against us, as a club. And I stopped short on asking him about a conspiracy theory, because it's always difficult to kind of prove or disprove, isn't it? It's one of those. But one of the things he said, which I thought was fascinating, was that the on-field referee now is petrified of being overruled by VAR. He said there's this real fear that if they make a mistake, or they put the whistle to their mouth and they're not 100% sure,
Mm.
and then he says they suffer the embarrassment of having to go to the on-screen to then know that they've got to come back and overrule their own decision. They're doing everything to avoid it. But he also said the inconsistencies between the interpretation of a simple rule, such as handball, he says nobody knows really what's right and what's wrong. And he's talking about anyone, any country, any referee. They don't know what actual handball is at the moment. Now, if I remember rightly, they were talking about the distance, weren't they, between Romero, the two differences between Romero.
Yeah.
And they were saying that the one, it was too far, or too... no, sorry, it was too close or something, or too far. I can't remember what he was saying. I can't remember his words. But equally, we know that any handball in the area when your arms at this position, which both were, is a penalty. That's it. So do you go that if you handle the ball in the area as a defender, it's a pen? You know, across the board, whatever.
Stone cold.
Yeah. So that's it. Now, we know that clever players will look for that then, won't we? Because I would, if I was in the area, I'd try and flick it up to a hand, try and get a pen. Certainly if you're losing, you would do. And then obviously if a striker handballs, or there's a handball from, you know, the striking team and it goes in, it's ruled out. But it's too cut and dry, isn't it? It's too, you know, black or white.
But also in the Champions League, this gets robbed off the Champions League as well.
Well, yeah, you know, we had
the first time in European Champions League history. I mean, I rate VAR in Europe. That's good, right? But for the first time, the check was complete, but they asked to recheck it and asked the referee to go. And I go, Swedish ref, what are you doing? It's never happened before.
No, but the rules are the same across the globe. The rule is the same right across the globe. So the question we've got to be asking IFAB is, why is there this interpretation problem from league to league, country to country? Because there is. And you're right, Mick, about the Champions League, 100%. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
We got robbed.
You know, it's never happened before. And this is the problem, the consistency of it. I do believe, rightly or wrongly, by the way, that I think there are some referees that just won't have it for Manchester United. I do believe there's a small portion of referees that won't accept and won't have it. And they'll do everything they can to cause Manchester United issues. I've lost count of how many VAR decisions we've had go against this season alone. Probably more than we had last season, you know, and these are contentious ones, really contentious ones.
But these are game changers as well, which actually affects the result.
Yeah, they do. But as footballers, because we all played a game, and as fans, you should never rely on VAR, should you? You shouldn't have to rely on VAR to win you that game of football. But that's my thoughts anyway.
Sure, Kojo, I have a solution. Are you willing to hear me out regarding the handballing rule? Let's make it very freaking simple. Anything that touches the hand within that 6-yard box is a stone cold penalty. That's the only way you can solve it. You're not supposed to touch the ball. Only the goalkeeper is supposed to touch the ball within that 6-yard penalty. You cannot say, oh, it's not a national position. Doesn't matter. Just make it one simple rule. You touches your hand, it's a penalty. End of discussion. What do you reckon?
That makes it more simpler. They always find a way to complicate that, but that makes it a lot simpler. They, at this point, I feel like they're just freestyling. I think they don't know what the rules are, and they just have to go off what they think. You know, I mean, the Arsenal one, I thought was the only reason I thought it was a penalty is just because it was goal bound. That's the only reason why I could give. But other than that, if you're giving that one and you're not giving our one at White Hart Lane or Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, whatever it's called now, then you're clearly, there might just be an agenda out there. It doesn't make sense. And in that clip, obviously we couldn't hear it on our side, but from what I remember, Dermot Gallagher was stumbling all over his words because he didn't have an answer for that question.
Nope.
So you said what a week or two prior, whenever we played Tottenham, that was no way a penalty. You said 100% it's not a penalty. Those were his words. So
yeah, but they are protecting themselves. Can't you see this? They're becoming
oh,
like
absolutely,
authoritarians.
absolutely.
They're
Yeah,
distancing
absolutely.
themselves. Don't question us. If you talk to us, talk to the hand, you get a yellow card. Only the captain is allowed to. Bruno tried to talk to him. He got a yellow card. I'm the bloody captain. What's going on here, right? If you can't, you know, seriously, like if you're spending so much money, you have eagle eye technology, you have 5 cameras on each side, right? If you spend so much money and you still can't get it wrong, what's the point of having it? You might as well listen. I foresee something in 10 years' time with AI technology. Soon we will have bots running the referee.
Yeah,
more accurate.
Keith Hackett said that, Mick. Keith said that he was instrumental in starting the goal line technology, and he was also instrumental in the beginnings of VAR. But what he was talking about was, and I don't know enough about this, by the way, so I'm going to probably stumble over my words here, but he was actually talking about real life and frames per second, that VAR can be a lot clearer than what the images that Sky Sports can provide. And he's talking about the frames per second, and he did go into it in a little bit more detail. He wasn't saying that was the issue with VAR, by the way. He was just making a point that it can be difficult on occasions.
But they're all mates. They're all mates. They're talking to each other.
No, there's that.
Yeah,
that is true. Oh, Nigel.
Yeah. So it's a big up. Like, you know, we've seen corruption. It does exist, but it's haram to talk about it. You're not allowed to talk about it. We don't know. That's the thing, right? This is the thing. But there's clear an agenda. Oh, you better check this. It's Manchester United, right? You know, we talk about the Garnacho goal, the offside ruling goal. It was not offside against Spurs, right? You better, you know, even the linesman was not even reacting, but there was whispering in his ear, you better come here, check it's Manchester United, right? You remember that one, the VAR ruling that we gave for Rashford against City last season? We got pelters for that in the media. So ever since then, they've been like, you know, oh, it's Manchester United. We better be careful, right? Anyway, big up. We have a super chat coming in raw. Like, you know, guys, we got to take this as well, because otherwise we are neglecting everyone. We have a super chat coming in all the way from Nigel Flynn. Big up, man, for your contribution. Hi, lads. Yes, we have 5 or 6 bad decisions this season. However, Brighton had so many bad decisions against Spurs last season in one game. Yeah. Any thoughts and comments?
Well, he's right, but I put it down to the quality of the referees. And one of the questions I asked Keith is, you know, what is it now that that allows you to become a referee? I know you start from grassroots, etc., and you work your way forward, but all these referees are being fast tracked. They're being fast tracked through to the Premier League, and we just don't have it. And he's a real advocate, and he's going to start pushing for players that don't make it at 18, 19. Kojo, what you were talking about, Mick, what you've been talking about for weeks, players that haven't got a career to go to, for the FA or the PGMOL to pay these players, these ex-players, to go on these courses and do an 18-month course and become a referee. Somebody who understands the pace of the game, the speed of thought, not only the speed of legs, but the speed of thought in a match. And he feels that would be the best option. I do. The quality of the ref is awful. I mean, we had to bring out an Australian ref, didn't we? Jared, whatever his name is. And it's just one of those. It's bad. It's bad news. It's bad news.
I feel you, Stephanie. Varsenal, yeah, and Varsapool as well. Liverpool gets also favorite decisions. I want to talk about another thing before we go to the game as well tomorrow, because we do play a game tomorrow. I'm going to talk about the media bias also, trying to criticize our manager, but they're not criticizing Poch or Chelsea that's spending over 1 billion in new squad, and doing horrendously, and nobody's talking about that. But they like to talk about Manchester United. They try to throw the manager under the bus. Gary Neville, the Sky Sports BTs, they've been told to speak that shit, to be honest. But why is nobody talking about that? Why is nobody talking about City, with the 115 allegations anymore, right? They're all bigging them up,
It's all stopped,
yeah, because they're not Man United. no club in this country generates clicks more than Man United Football Club. And
True.
no club is hated more than Man United Football Club because everyone hates the period of dominance that Man United had over everybody. And in this era right now, where you have these new journalists and so on and so forth, they're the people that grew up within that era hating the club. So your guy like Bono Halls and all that, like I mentioned earlier. And I mentioned him in particular because there was one day I was at the TalkSport studio and I didn't even do any work with him, but he just came to the studio. We were losing a game. I forgot what game it is. Watching the game, and he just stood in front of everyone and said, "Fucking hate them, love this. I hope they fucking lose." And I was like, and I'm thinking to myself, this is who you get to talk about Man United on a weekly basis. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
It's not the same.
Get at least. Get at least Anil Kandola. He's a massive Manchester United, a mate of ours as well. Anil talks sense. He works for TalkSport as well. But no, he doesn't get on. Get somebody that heads Manchester United, talk about Manchester United, to be honest, right? Yeah. But I have a theory, guys. But before that, I want to also give a shout out to a super chat from Peter Elianteno. So Tony isn't the only that bets. Oh, Peter. I love it. No, I do have a big up, Peter, for your super chat. I do have a theory. I was thinking about the other day. You remember how Sir Alex used to abolish every single journalist to come to the press conference? He used to say, "You're not welcome here. You're not welcome here. You're out. You're out. You're out." They were afraid of him, right? So I think this is kind of a little bit of a revenge on all of those years of that treatment. I used to say, once the cat is gone, the mouse come out and play. There's a saying. So they are now out playing, and they're having their revenge, potentially.
Well, Mick, if they are genuinely upset because he stopped them from coming because they weren't doing their job, which is telling the truth, then they didn't deserve to be there in the first place. And when he pulled up on them and he said it in a press conference, "Your job is to tell the truth. I've brought you back in here. You're gonna come here and tell the truth. Don't twist my words. Don't BS about the club. And when we say don't talk about something, don't do it. And you do it anyway. You don't deserve to be there." So if they're generally upset because someone told them to do their job correctly, that speaks volumes about who they are.
Yeah. They should go like this, before the press conference. What I did just do. Now put your hand out, put your hand out like in the Bible and say, "I hope to swear the truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God." Okay, begin the press conference. What's going on with Harry Maguire? Out. What's going on with Sancho? Get out. What's going on with the, how are you going to play against Crystal Palace? Oh, now we can talk, right?
Yeah.
That's what we want to hear. Because if we sit there and covering the MUTV, like whenever they have the manager's press conference, it's like embargo session, 10, 15 minutes. You do expect to hear some really astute questions to understand, what's going on here? How are we going to play? Who's injured? No. 5-6 minutes you hear about Hollywood Insider asking "Oh, what's going on with this one? What's going on with Jadon Sancho? What's going on with Cristiano Ronaldo?" Oh, because that shit sells money. Click money. Bates. More than the footballing side of it. I'm tired of it. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.